Dr. Bergen.
Dr. Clausen.
Shall we proceed?
We shall. Let's proceed.
Ooh, I don't know about this one.
I know. Scalpel, please.
All right, scalpel.
Thank you.
Yep. Oh dear.
Yeah. Okay,
Vitals are holding steady at this point.
okay, snips.
Snips. Snips. Here.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Okay. Skewer.
Skewer.
Thank you. And torch.
Torch. Wow, okay. Torching process went better than expected.
Better, much better. Okay.
Okay.
Now, the delicate part.
Okay.
Pliers.
Pliers. Okay.
And, oh, careful. Okay.
Yep, here we go. Holding steady.
Looking good?
Yep.
Looking good? Yep.
Bonding process almost complete.
Yes, looks good. Woo-hoo.
We've done it.
We've done it!
The operation was a success.
Perfect s'more!
Yes. Good job, Dr. Bergen.
Thanks, Dr. Clausen.
Welcome to the This and That Show.
My name is Annie.
And my name is Peter. And man, those s'mores were delicious.
That was so good. It turned out way better than I could have ever imagined.
Me too. Better than you imagined, hey? That reminds me of what we're actually talking about today. We will be talking about heaven.
Oh, yeah. And our bottom line actually is following Jesus will turn out greater than you can imagine.
That's right.
But before we get to our bottom line and our Bible story, this is actually the last week with our theme focus and talking about faith. Believing in something you can't see
Because of what we can see.
Yeah, exactly. So we are going to play a game today with focus. And it is called Once Upon a What?
What's upon a what? Okay. I'm excited about this game because I invented a new way to experience a story.
It's true. So what the game is going to consist of is I am going to tell Peter a very detailed story. And then after the story, I'm going to see if his ears were listening to what I said. And I'm going to give him 5 questions to see if he could answer those 5 questions.
All right. So, oh no. I gotta hook it up. All right, I got it fixed. Okay, so what's going to happen here is, Annie, you're going to press this button. It'll activate the imagery on here.
Okay.
As you're speaking, I will experience it with my eyes, and I'll hear what you say
Okay.
with my. This isn't working. I can't see nothing.
Don't you need to do this?
Whoa! Here we go. Okay.
Yep.
We're in business. Okay.
Okay. Are you ready for my not so very short story, A Great Day?
Hold on, press the button.
Button, yes.
Nice. Okay, I'm in.
Once upon a time, I was playing outside with my friends, Peter, Lakeisha, and Colin. Peter was wearing a red shirt with blue shorts. Lakeisha was wearing a blue shirt with red shorts. Colin was wearing a green shirt with gray shorts, and I was wearing a gray shirt with green shorts. It was summer and the sky was blue with some hints of gold and pink. We were in the middle of an exciting game of hide and seek when Colin fell and got hurt. He had stepped on a brown thorn on top of a white rock in the middle of a gray puddle. He cried, and it seemed like our game was over. Just then, a yellow dog came up to us, and we had never seen this dog before, but we assumed he belonged to one of our neighbors. He was covered in mud, and he had a small gray stick in his mouth. Lakeisha was the first to go over to him, then Peter, then me. Finally, Colin stopped crying and came over as well. This dog was so excited to see us that he wagged his tail and gave us all dog kisses. We decided to play fetch with him, and we tossed the stick for him to chase. Colin tossed the stick first, then Peter, then I took a turn, and then Lakeisha. After a while, the sky turned dark gray and it looked like it was going to rain. We decided we needed to find the dog's home. Peter suggested to check his collar to see if he had any information. We looked at his blue collar and found a silver tag with his name, Bark Vader, on it.
Nice name.
Right? It also had his address. It turned out he belonged to our neighbor in the greenhouse with the white shutters. We took Bark Vader over to their house and they were so thankful that they gave us a red plate of chocolate chip cookies. It was a great day. All right, you got all those details?
My brain is so foggy now.
I know. Okay, let's see if you can get this. Question number 1. Are you guys ready too? What color shirt was Lakeisha wearing? Was it blue or was it red?
I was wearing a red shirt, so she was wearing a blue shirt.
Correct.
Yes!
Question number 2. What color was my shirt? Was it gray or was it green?
Gray.
Correct again.
Yeah!
Question number 3. What color was the thorn that Colin stepped on? Was it brown or was it white?
So, white thorn.
It was brown.
Ugh.
Yep. Question number 4. What color was Bark Vader's collar? Was it blue or was it green?
Blue.
It was blue!
Yeah!
Hey, and last but not least, question number 5. What color was the plate that the cookies were on? Was it red or was it white?
Was it red? Was it red? Red.
It was red!
Yeah!
You got 4 out of 5. How about all you watching? What did you get? Because that was some crazy details.
It was
and
crazy.
Well done focusing.
Yes.
Because that was a not so short story.
Right. But, you know, as we were playing that game and I was being bombarded with all of these details, I couldn't help but think of the disciple John as he was writing the book of Revelation.
That's right.
And we get to talk today a little bit about Revelation.
Yes.
And so let's talk about that a little bit because John was being fed tons of details. He wrote the book of Revelation, which is arguably one of the most interesting, mysterious, and wonderful yet scary books ever written. It's a masterpiece. John, when he wrote this book, he was on the island of Patmos. He is an old man at this point. He was put on Patmos by the emperor of Rome because John would not stop talking about Jesus. Wherever he went, he was telling people about Jesus, and this got him in trouble. And it was a scary time because speaking about Jesus would get you into a lot of trouble sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes people would get beat up, they would get bullied, they would get arrested. Some believers even faced death because they were following Jesus. It was a scary time. And yet, it was an exciting time because it was during this time that John got to see the gospel, the good news of Jesus, just go from one end of the earth to the other.
So
and
cool.
yeah, it's incredible. And so even as you read in Revelation, you'll hear like a voice that sounds like a thunderous trumpet. And then John turns around and he finds it was the voice of Jesus. And he's giving him the most epic visions. And so John is trying to take all this information in, and I can only imagine what he actually would have experienced. Because what we have the book of Revelation of how he wrote it all out, but he's being fed these wonderful visions. Some of them were even of the future. And so some of them were great, some of them were terrible, and some of them were just super mysterious. And some of them we won't know until we experience them, right? And so John is now writing all of this incredible information down on a scroll so that he can share this truth and this good news with all the other churches in the area.
Yeah, that's right. And at the end of the visions that God gave John, he showed John what was going to happen with all the believers who believed in Jesus. And today we are going to try and capture that vision with a little segment that we like to call Scripture Sketch. So John described a new heaven and a new earth. And when John saw this vision of the new heaven and new earth, it reminded him of what Jesus said right before he died and came back to life. And this is in John chapter 14, verse 2 and 3. So Jesus said, "There are many rooms in my Father's house. If this were not true, would I have told you that I'm going there? Would I have told you that I would prepare a place for you there? If I go and do that, I will come back, and I will take you with me. Then you will be there where I am." Now, John realized that Jesus was talking about a place where we could never be separated from God. And in a vision, John saw a great white throne. It says in Revelation 21, verses 3 and 4. I heard a loud voice from the throne. It said, "Look, God now makes his home with the people. He will live with them. They will be his people, and God himself will be with them and be their God. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, and there will be no more sadness. There will be no more crying or pain. Things are no longer the way they used to be. In the future, God will make everything the way it should be." Now, John also noticed in these visions that there was a ton of light around. In Revelation chapter 21, verse 23, it says, "The city does not need the sun or moon to shine on it. God's glory is the light, and the Lamb, Jesus, is the lamp." Now, the light was beautiful, but that's not all. The place itself was beautiful. It says, "The angel showed me the river of the water of life. It was clear as crystal. It flowed from the throne of God and the Lamb. It flowed down the middle of the city's main street. On each side of the river stood the tree of life bearing 12 crops of fruit. Its fruit was ripe every month. The leaves of the tree bring healing to the nations." John added more about the people that he saw too. God's servants will serve him, and they will see his face. So John didn't know exactly what he saw, and he didn't quite understand, but what he knew for sure was that God's people will be able to follow him and use their gifts without anything getting in the way, without any frustration or exhaustion. You know, the truth is that following Jesus will turn out greater than we could ever imagine. So hey Peter, what do you think heaven's gonna be like?
That is such a good question. When I think of heaven, I often think about cool things, right?
Yeah,
like
sure.
One of my friends said he thinks there's going to be jet skis in heaven, which would be pretty cool to be jet skiing with Jesus. But what type of jet skis would Jesus have? Would it be limited to water? I don't know. Right? And so that's the fun thing about talking about heaven is you're thinking about all the different possibilities, right?
That's right.
Because we live here on earth, but we know that heaven is going to be so much better than here on earth. And so sometimes I think of heaven, I think of like amusement parks, I think of, going swimming, and then I think deeper yet. And a level deeper is like, what makes those things great? Often it's like hanging out with the people that I care about, my family and friends, right? And so, but then I take it a step deeper yet and be like, well, what makes that wonderful? Well, it's the fact that they are a gift from God, and God is the giver of all good and perfect gifts. And so really, at the heart of it, what is going to make heaven incredible is the fact that we will now be in the presence of an almighty and powerful God who created the entire universe. So when I think about heaven, my brain wants to explode. It's like taking a Nintendo Switch game and putting it into a toaster to try to play it.
That does not work.
No, it doesn't work. Don't ever try that.
Don't.
But that's how often, that's how I think sometimes heaven is like. It's difficult for us to wrap our heads around because God is just that big.
Definitely. So that's a question that you can wrestle with at home and have some fun with it. What do you think heaven's going to be like? What kind of neat things are going to be there? What would you love to see or do? Yeah, think about that.
well, this wraps up our series on focus.
That's right. And so make sure to tune in next week because we are starting a brand new 4-week series and you are not going to want to miss it.
No, you're not. So we shall see you next week. Have a blessed week and we'll see you soon.
See you later.